Welcome, dear listeners. Lean in your ear. There's monologues waiting, so gather round here. On Monologue Dialogue, stories take stage. From theater to film, from screen to page. Today we ask questions both merry and strange. How does Grinch's big heart start to change? One told by a narrator, calm, steady, and wise. One told by a green man with chaos for eyes. One Grinch learned Christmas by watching the town. One turned the Whoville's whole worldview upside down. So sit, sip your coffee, let analysis begin. Two Grinches, two morals, and who learns from who then? Alrighty, guys, welcome back for another episode of Monologue Dialogue. I know it's been a little bit, but here we are. We thought we'd give you a nice little non-secular holiday gift by talking about a Christmas movie. Actually, in particular, two Christmas movies. I am your host, Paul Nicolosi. Yeah, we got a twofer. I am your host, Paul Nicolosi, and today I am joined by my lovely co-host, Marco Saldana. Say hi, Marco.
Hey, how's it going? It's mostly my fault that we took so long, but you had a little bit to play too.
You know what? Let's just say life happens. I was in
Do you want to
jail.
tell them it was a good thing? You got you finished school, sir. Come on,
Yes,
that's kind of a big thing. Hey, congratulations.
oh, shucks. I was going
Yeah.
to lie to them like any good performer and say I got arrested by I was detained by ICE and
Yes, I know you had this whole thing. Now I just decided against it. Yes.
yeah,
I also am in school, which is what took so long as well, sir. So yeah,
that's true. So please forgive us while we try to get better educated, but here we are and
yes.
we decided to talk about what are we talking about today, Marco?
We decided to go with it's the holidays, and one of the big things that's around right now is Grinch, Grinch stuff. And I know I'm a bit of a Grinch fan myself. There's just a lot of things that I find awesome about him because I'm a bit of a Grinch myself. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, so the twofer we're gonna discuss today, the 1966 cartoon version, the original old school Jim, and then compared with Jim Carrey's version of the Grinch in 2000.
Yep, that's what we signed up to do today. So, let's go ahead and why don't we go ahead and jump right into it. Now, as my memory recalls, the 1966 version didn't necessarily have a traditional monologue in a sense. It was more of a narrator with little pockets of the Grinch filling in for that narration. But for the sake of this show, we're just going to consider narration a monologue and go with it. A little bit of background history for those of you who haven't seen the 1966 version. How dare you? First off, second off, it's very faithful to the Dr. Seuss book, which I had to scrounge around my child's uh, poorly organized bedroom to find that copy of the book, admittedly. So I hope it was worth the effort. I hope you can see it in frame, and I hope it's not blurry. Anyway, back to the movie itself. It is narrated by Boris Karloff, which I didn't even know. I mean, I've grown up with this movie my entire life. I had no idea Boris Karloff, the Universal Monsters Boris Karloff, had narrated that. That to me was dope as
That's pretty
shit.
cool. I didn't know who Boris Karloff was, so it's cool.
Did I just tell you today that Boris Karloff was many of the classic Universal monsters that you know of?
If you point them out, it'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I tend not to track those kind of things.
Yep, he had a heavy hand in that.
Yeah.
But he provided the voice of the narrator and the Grinch in this in this short film, we'll call
Oh,
it.
he does both. I didn't
Yes,
know that.
yes, he does. And of course, the movie itself is animated. I believe it was Chuck Jones. Which, if you're not familiar with Chuck Jones' work, uh, wonderful, wonderful Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny cartoons. I mean, those are like classic. You got to check those out. Take my word for it. But the Grinch himself says surprisingly little, but the narrator pretty much speaks for him, and we're going to discuss how that kind of drives the overall moral of of the different arcs of these films.
Cool.
And Marco is going to talk about the Jim Carrey version because he's more of a fan of
Yes,
that one.
very different. Yeah, yeah, very, very different. The Jim Carrey version. There is a bit of a narrator, I believe. Sir Anthony Hopkins does a little bit of the narration.
Sir Anthony
Sir,
Hopkins.
but Jim Carrey does a lot of his own stuff, a lot of the improv, which is he's well known for. But there's a lot of comparisons between the cartoon and the Jim Carrey version. Uh, yeah, the stories, even though they're very similar, the way they're told and the points of view are very distinct. Very.
Yes, yes, they are. Uh, well, why don't we go ahead and just jump right into it? I guess the overall story for those of you who are completely unfamiliar with what these two guys are talking about, there's this guy, right? We'll call him a Grinch, and he really didn't like Christmas. What in particular did he not
The
like about
Grinch.
Christmas? This so-called
Not a
Grinch.
Grinch, the Grinch.
Okay. What did he not like about Christmas? He didn't like the sounds. He didn't like the novelty of it. He didn't like
Everything,
real
really.
pretty much everything. Yeah, he didn't like the idea
Yeah.
of giving or receiving gifts. Just all of the holiday season in general, or Christmas in this case, just really got under his
Some
skin.
some might say bah humbug, but that's crossing the border into something else.
A little bit, a little bit. That
Yeah.
oh, we should do a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Oh,
dude. Yeah. 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 All right.
anyway,
Yeah. That's different territory.
yeah, let's stay in our lane today.
Anyway,
I
let's stay focused.
So you got the Grinch. He hated Christmas. He hated the entire season of it. The narration itself is very poetic, very Seussian. If you've ever read a Dr. Seuss book, you know how it flows. And the 66 version stayed very faithful to that. Really, they weren't trying to reinvent anything. I mean, they knew their audience. Their audience was kids. It wasn't grown adults watching this like today, kind of like two weirdos with a podcast. Uh, they weren't trying to break down any deep down psychological narrative. It was really just cause and effect. And if you're not familiar with the story itself, much of the narration and a lot of the monologue basically is centered around putting down the Grinch for how he feels, or just kind of explaining why he feels and how he feels and why he's doing what he's doing. Um, it's to help you understand his worldview, to interpret his motivations, and it provides kind of a moral framing for the overall arc. Because this monologue isn't necessarily the Grinch's, though, the moral authority stays outside of him. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get into it. But the basics, we are told who he is, what he thinks, and eventually what lesson he has to learn by the film's end.
Right. Right. Well, and then in contrast, the 2000 version with Mr. Jim Carrey, very, very different. Where here, like you said, the 66 version is mostly centered for kids, and their audience was kids. Here, you had a little bit of everything. But here, the moral authority wasn't the narrator itself. Here, the Grinch was clearly expressing his own ideas. You could see the world through his point of view. I wouldn't call it a cause and effect, more of a symbiotic relationship where they were each affected by each other. You know,
Mm.
and then you get to see how the film really expresses a lot of different messages of why the Grinch. It was the Grinch. What made him a Grinch in the first place? It wasn't necessarily He didn't start off that way. He was a good dude at some point. And he just, was turned. And you get to see there's this whole climactic thing in the 2000 version where he just goes on a rampage because he's triggered by stuff. Who knows? He might have been a veteran. He's hairy for it.
And he had the color, right? Like he.
Yeah, green.
Yeah.
Green. He's angry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
His service animal.
Yeah, he's got Max. Oh man, talk
Yeah.
about an outstanding partner in crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always want a good faithful dog like Max.
Yeah. Follow you into crimes of breaking and entering.
Yeah, I mean typical buddy stuff, right? Like I do it for you, Marco.
That for bro code. Right.
I mean, and I'm sure you would do it for me too, right? Like if I asked you, like, "Hey, let's go."
Depends on the severity. Depends.
All right, well, guys, that's the Monologue Dialogue. Thank you for joining us this week.
It's been fun.
I'm gonna go cry a lot. Yeah. So as Marco pointed out, there's not necessarily that cause and effect, but as you described it, kind of a symbiotic flow when it comes to the monologue itself, how that drives the moral of the story. In essence, it may not necessarily be the Grinch just learning from the Who's, right? Is that kind of where you were driving with that?
They ended up learning from each other.
Yeah.
We're in the 66 version, it's clearly one-sided. Here, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah. Well, we're going to dive into that, and we're going to see what we can find, what we can dig up from this Christmas treasure.
Yeah.
So before we get into that all-encompassing moral arc of each one of these, I really did want to take some time and talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart when it comes to the 66 version. That would be the strange, almost sentient voice in his head that's just singing about how much of a schmuck he is. You know what I'm talking about, Marco?
Sentient and schmuck. Good words. Yes.
That's what a communication degree will get you.
No,
it doesn't teach you. It doesn't teach you the right words. It teaches you when to use the right words.
Ooh,
important distinction.
Well said.
But yeah, no, this. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I would absolutely hate Christmas if some guy was constantly dogging me and I couldn't turn his volume down because he's in my head. You know what I mean? Let me read some of these lyrics to you real quick. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. He tells him he's got garlic in his soul. Which, by the way, as an Italian, that's a compliment. But I guess to a Grinch, he doesn't like Italians.
Apparently.
It's kind of weird, right? I mean, how would you feel if someone was just constantly in your ear going like, you're a bastard, Mr. Marco. You really are a prick.
Well, I would ask, why is he singing about this?
No, you can't talk to him.
For starters.
You can't talk to him.
I mean, even then, he's must have an internal monologue with himself at that point, wouldn't you think?
I'm just saying he's like his self-esteem has to be driven so far low. Like he's obviously not in on the joke, right? It's just
he's just manically depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
Even his imaginary voice in his head is just like, yeah, you're a shithead, dude, Mr. Grinch.
But the question is why? Why? There's a theory out there in the
You mean why is he so
the internet?
Why is he so manically depressed? Tell me about your theory. I want to hear this.
Yes, there are theories out there that say they bring back the rare roast beast. Where did that rare roast beast come from? Moreover, go back to the first Dr. Seuss stories, Green Eggs and Ham, Sam I Am. Who did that belong to? They hunted his people to extinction. He's the last of them.
For context, you're talking about what the Who's were actually eating for dinner. For dinner,
Might have been his wife. We don't know. Might have been the last female. Where did that rare roast beast come from?
That's pretty.
Why is he so mad, upset all the time?
That's really dark, man.
It is a little bit, yeah. It changes your whole perspective on it. When you go out of your way to sabotage the holiday too.
You know, before this episode, I wasn't really on the Grinch's side, but now I'm pro Grinch. Like, I get it. I'm an ally, Mr. Grinch.
Let's salt the earth.
Oh, that's fantastic. Much of the how do I turn from that? There's no clear transition out of what we just discussed. That was so freaking off the rails.
Come back to the whole sentient. Why is he dogging him in the first place? You know, he's a bastard, Mr. Grinch. He's a real prick. He's just stealing stuff left and right.
You do know those weren't.
You're not recording anymore.
Oh, I am. No, I'm absolutely recording it. Those weren't real lyrics. You just quickly
just riffing with it.
Oh, yeah. Up it on. You love it. It fits. He is a bastard.
He is. You know.
No, but I'm saying, how do we get that back to the moral? I didn't really think this through, Marco.
Well, I mean, what are the Who's the Who's represent in the 66 version? Purity. They're all so goody two shoe. They don't realize how much they pissed them off.
I think
there is a line from there is one. There are a few monologues of the Grinch, but in the beginning scenes, he does state, "I've put up with this for 55 years."
Oh yeah.
I've imagined 55 years of noise and a whole bunch of crap. All right, literal crap. All right, because then you see all the toys, the Tinkle, Carbuncles, and yada bullshit. Right, and all this other crap.
Factor in the fact that his wife just died, right?
Yeah, then he lost his the only other female left, and now it's personal now.
Yeah.
55 years getting dogged, okay, and then to take out his chick. Yeah, you'd feel the ways too.
I'd steal more than Christmas. Stuff. I'd steal souls.
Probably. Slit some throats. That's dark. Whoa.
We can't say that on YouTube. Oh boy.
No, we're not advocating violence in any way, shape, or form.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. So getting back to the moral conversation of this, and it's really hard to switch gears from that to being serious. I got to be honest with you, but when you're talking about I mentioned a little bit before about the cause and effect, right? So a lot of the monologue and the narration of the original 66 version, it goes into why he feels the way he feels, and a lot of the action of what he does. But then you remember at the end, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen this cartoon from 1966.
If you haven't seen it by now, since 1966.
Pause this video, leave a like, leave a comment, go watch it, come back, leave us another comment, and then who knows, maybe subscribe. Spoiler alert, they don't care that their Christmas was stolen. They still sing and rejoice because it's Christmas morning and they have each other.
They really do. They didn't really notice, like, oh, okay, well, no big deal. See, again, the moral superiority of the Who's.
And he's probably sitting there like, well, what the hell did you kill my wife for if you weren't going to care that I stole your Christmas?
They start singing, it's like, what?
How's that song?
We'll throw you for a loop.
How's that song go?
No, that's a wasn't time thing.
I put you on the spot. Now you're self-conscious about it.
No, because there was some ways the movies had it sung with the captions. It was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a strange song.
Yeah,
but it is very much, as I said, more of a cause and effect. One, A happened, therefore B should happen. It's very simple. It's delivered almost to just wrap it up in time.
What is your A that happened then?
Well, A is the Grinch stole Christmas because he
thought the Grinch hated Christmas because of all the bullshit.
Right, he hated it, therefore he stole it. And
stole it.
B.
Yeah, B. Oh,
The
that wasn't B. He stole it. Okay, I'm sorry.
listen, mother. Okay,
It's in the title.
he stole Christmas.
All right.
B, they didn't care because he didn't really steal Christmas. He stole the commercialization of Christmas, but they already knew in their hearts that it wasn't about the who's a what's its and bobble bingles and shitty throaties and whatever the fuck you want to call them, right? They was just
shitty throaties.
you like that one. That's where my mind went.
Dingleberries.
The dingleberries. He didn't care, or that I'm sorry, excuse me. They didn't care necessarily.
For those militaristic audiences.
Yeah. They didn't necessarily care that those things were gone. It was more about having each other. And that's kind of what made his heart grow 3 times that day, right? He finally realized after 55 years and losing his poor dead wife. Did we mention his wife is dead?
They killed his wife, man. They whacked his wife.
That's our word. You can't use that. His wife, yeah. He finally realized that it wasn't about all the novelty and about the lights and the sounds and the music and all the toys and stuff. I mean, they were using those to celebrate, but really they were celebrating what they had, which was the Christmas season with each other.
Well, if you really pay attention to the 66 version, when the kids are playing with their stuff, did you ever really stop to see how excited they were? They were just like, whatever, okay, cool. I'm playing this. And that's it. Maybe they knew something that the poor Grinch didn't know the whole time. Because I mean, they had all their stuff stolen, and it's no big deal.
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
I just in my mind I immediately thought of like they're all opening their gifts and like one kid is like, another dingleberry.
Another Harflugal Dingleberry. Wow, crap. All right. So, I mean, that was the 66 version, and a lot of good stuff there. A lot of, even the crazy zany stuff with the conspiracy theories. But, now to the 2000 version, and I know there's been a more recent version, but I like this one the most because you get to see a lot of the Grinch's own personal side, from when he was a tiny little baby, to when he's a full grown Grinch, with all the hair. Okay. Now there's 3 particular monologues that he does that I like to focus in on. And the first one is the self-loathing rant when he's in the cave. He's literally talking back to the echo. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's also the self-schedule monologue after he gets invited to the Whovillation ceremony celebration stuff. He's like, 4:30, I got this to do. The 5:30 jazzercise. 6:30 dinner with myself. I can't cancel that again. And 7:30 stare into the abyss. That's one of my favorite ones because he's like, of course I could move this around and then there that could slowly stare at the ceiling and slowly slip into madness. And then the final blow up moment, which is at the Who celebration where he gets triggered by a memory and then he just goes off on everybody. So all of those, what do they talk about? Now I know we went off the rails with the 66 version. He's a bit of a schmuck. But why was he a schmuck? Well, conspiracy theorists say that he, got his wife killed. His whole people died. Okay, cool. But here, yeah, good book. Yeah, green eggs and ham. But the more modern version, you get to see this very sad, depressed side of the Grinch. Very very lonely dude, and it's not me that's the problem. It's the world. Okay, but what did the world do to the Grinch? He hates everything about it. He hates the noise. That much comes over from the book, from the original 66 version. All of the noise and all of the fluff. That Jim Carrey does a phenomenal job of talking about that he just hates it. He can't stand it. What I liked about the most is that in the 66 version, it's him just sitting up there and just plotting until he finally steals Christmas. The 2000 version, he actually puts boots on the ground and goes into Whoville in the opening scenes.
He performs reconnaissance.
Yeah, very, very tactical of them. Especially when he sabotages the mail, which is one of my favorite parts. Jury duty. Eviction notice.
Chain letter.
But why is he doing all of this stuff again? And when you get to the blow up scenes, you get to see when during his past. This is the side of the Grinch that you don't get to see, that the 66 version doesn't really talk about. Him as a tiny little baby. How did the group, all the Who babies, they come in umbrellas apparently overnight, and he landed with his aunts, and they're having it was more than a menage a trois, or I don't know, a nice uncouth version of saying what an orgy is.
A swinger party.
Swinger fest. Swing fest. Just a swing festival. Without the swing. Yeah.
A swing dig. A swing dig.
Oh.
Yeah.
A swing deck.
No, like a shindig, swing dig.
Oh, a swing dig.
Yeah, that's what I'm here
dig.
for. What I'm here for.
Yeah. Pronounce your syllables, sir.
Okay, dig. I can't help it if I slur when I drink my who's or what's this. Okay.
Well, you get to see it. You get to see it from there. That's when it starts. And then you get to see him as a kid, and you remember what it's like to be as a kid. Man, kids can be real cruel.
Yeah.
They start picking on him because he's green and he's weird. They get him to shave, and he just cuts his face because he's never shaved before. Absent father, and then even on there. All that leads to it. And this is what I mean by it's more than just a cause and effect. He was there, he got the shaft a lot, and it made him into the Grinch that he was. Until it finally boils over into this big moment at the Who celebration. It just boom, and explodes, and it just flips it on, And what triggers it? The mayor of Whoville proposes to Martha Whovier. Big old rock. And, what do you get when you marry me? You get this brand new car paid for by the taxpayers. Yeah, siphoning of funds, public funds. Embezzlement, no big deal. See, but then he calls it out. He's like, see, that's what it is. How all the stuff that they get, it all comes to me, and it's all ends up in the trash, which is where he lives.
Sure.
It just goes off on him, and it's a jab at, like you said, capitalism. It's all about stuff.
Not necessarily capitalism, but consumerism in general. Just
there we go.
The idea of hating to have everything, the latest of everything. It's almost like, I guess, the closest thing we could equate it to in our lives are the 80s Coca-Cola generation. Consumed to the economy. There was definitely a pointed message within this movie.
Yeah. Bye. And the Who's get wrapped up in that, and he's the only one that stands against it. Unless you look at the little girl. I forget her name. Is it help me out here, Paul. The little girl that sings in the 2000 version.
There's a little girl in this movie?
Yeah.
No.
Anyways,
you're talking about Susie. Little Susie.
That's the one. That's it.
Or no.
I'm going to say Sarah.
What am I saying? Cindy Lou Who. What
Cindy.
the fuck was I saying?
Wow, we're
I'm tired.
We were totally off. Yeah. Cindy, Sarah, whatever her name
is. We're
is.
doing this as professionals.
Are we?
We should research. We should research every once in a while.
We should probably have researched this.
Yeah, probably should have watched the movie.
Yeah. Well, or written better notes. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I can't read.
Anyway, Cindy Lou Who in this particular movie is also having a crisis of conscience. Because she clearly sees there's something wrong with Christmas. And she's on the side of the Grinch for once, and it's a little weird to see someone actually standing up for him, which does not happen in the 66 version at all. So the Grinch stealing Christmas, I mean, that happens in both the old school version and Jim Carrey's version. Very different sleds. I don't know if you noticed. Very, very different. You know, the 66, just pure wood, max, and the 2000 version, clearly more technological upgrades were made.
Oh yeah, no, he was like a rocket engineer or something. The way he built that thing.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I like how he went out of his way to test those rocket boosters and the airbags. How safety conscious of it, risk assessment. Well done, guy. Well done.
But this is why we test these things, or something to that effect.
We test them, yeah.
Yeah. But then, so as we were discussing the overall moral of it, he kind of has his rant where all of their stuff just ends up in his yard. Therefore, he's moved to action, right? He's moved to steal these things.
Well, yeah. After his climactic spiel, and he goes off and destroys, the Whoville celebration. He retreats back to his fortress of solitude, so to speak. And then he's just watching them as they trot out a new Christmas tree. And he's like, damn it, I did all that for nothing. He's like, these Who's are relentless. And then, yeah, that's when he, decides to go on the offensive once again and puts everything in order. You keep going back to the moral, the what is moral? Yeah, I think in the 66 version is clear, right, wrong. And the 2000 version, it just makes it a little bit gray because, the Who's was just so wrapped up into Christmas. Myself personally, I'll take a little page from me. I've been a nurse for over 17 years, and you and I were in the military together. So for me, the holidays, it's just another day of work. If I was in one uniform, I was in the other. See? So there's no real point for me to celebrate. It's just a day of overtime, really, paid time and a half. So there's no real point getting all Christmassy, then the Mariah Carey song. So don't even get me started. See? So, like I'm already going into my own Grinch spiel.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Do you really like that song?
No, I've never heard it before.
No. Yeah. Don't even get me started. I do like the memes though that they have because of it. Now it's just getting thawed out. It's her time again. Every 23 years she comes out to feed. But see, so like here, there's no real right wrong. It's just something that was like for me, it was instilled. It was put in there. It's just another holiday, so I gotta work it, once I moved out of, the nest, I was on my own. I never really, I had a Charlie Brown tree, that's a literal Charlie Brown tree. That was the most I decorated because there was no real point. I was always working. See? Actually, once one of the units that I worked on actually gave me the Grinch Award. Literally, they put my name on a little ball of the Grinch, which was awesome. but I had also earned it. What can I say? By just being a bit of a Grinch myself. See, it was again but you look at the 2000 version, you're just so caught up in all of the fluff of Christmas that the Who's literally forget the meaning of it. And in the 66 version, it's very clear. After the Grinch steals everything, does it phase them? Nah, it's nothing. They just continue because it was more than that. See, and then the 2000 version, Cindy Lou Who has to remind him of that. Of hey, there's really more to it, but before she gets to point that out, they had to lose everything, and they had to literally emotionally batter a young kid, and the grown up steps in to defend her.
Oh,
That's when they
Lou.
all come back and
I think it's Lou.
yeah,
Lou who?
hey, Lulu, yeah,
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 yeah. That's a top tier dad right there. Yeah, he just steps up for his kid.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, did it in the most nonchalant, passive aggressive way, but dang, good for him to stand up for his kid.
Mm-hmm.
Any other parent would have socked the other guy in the mouth.
And then they have their Dabu Dabu moment, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And then that's when she goes up to the Grinch, and then you get to see the Grinch grow. His heart grows 3 sizes. I personally love the fact that he's like, Max, I'm feeling. It's like, it's just freaking him out. Just as such a foreign feeling to him.
Yeah.
You gotta be thinking, what is he thinking to himself? He's gotta be freaking out. Like, oh my God, am I gonna die? No, dude, you're just feeling. You just got the feels. They sneak up on you, man. They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
and then he comes back into town with Christmas and woohoo. Commercialism back.
yeah. Ooh, hey, everybody. Oh, Christmas. Oh, more stuff. Junk. Happy ending all around. Yeah. And then eat his wife. No big deal.
Well, he gets a new wife at the end of this one, right?
Does he? Oh, he does.
Yeah. Well,
Martha Huvier.
Mm-hmm. She leaves that schmuck mayor who was embezzling the who's taxes for a new car so he can not be lonely not be lonely anymore to buy his wife with a new car. And she ends up giving up the rock in the car for the Grinch, because she loved the muscles.
The muscles on him. Huh? Was it the green fur? No, it was the muscles.
Some of us just want some rare beasts for Christmas,
Apparently, yeah. So, we talked about both versions here. I think, no more beating a dead horse or a dead Grinch at this one.
Rare beast.
It's, I guess, all of the rare beasts. The Grinch's ex-wife. But yeah, no, the 66 version for me was, I hate to say cut and dry, but there's clear right and wrong. He learned a good lesson. Christmas is not about the stuff. It's about the family. Ha-hoo foray. Yeah. It's all about the togetherness, which is honestly for me, it's what I like the most about the holidays now. It's, if I get to see my folks, great. And now I got my brother and my sister living with me. And so, I get slowly reintegrating back into familial life. So, what the holiday should be about, just celebrating the fact that we're together. I mean, you remember what it's like to be overseas, on the holidays. It kind of sucks. It's very depressing too. But yeah. That was the 66 version was just about the good feeling of Christmas.
Yeah, I think you wrapped it up rather succinctly. It's just, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it's simplified because their target audience is children, A, therefore B. It's real cut and dry, real simple. Whereas the Jim Carrey version, I mean, it's trying to appeal to a larger audience. It's trying to be a feature-length film. Appeal to
nuances.
Obviously, it's a kids' movie, but they want to appeal to adults, right? They want to do whatever they can to make sure
they grew up with the original Grinch. Yeah,
sure. They want to make sure that this movie is going to be a holiday staple for years to come, right? They're probably also appealing to an international audience. I'm not really trying to speculate for the creators of the movie, but you have a lot of things that you need to fit in. So the moral had to be a little more nuanced. the Grinch kind of had part of the answer and he shared it. Well, you guys are just obsessed with consumerism, and that's all Christmas really is about. You have Cindy Lou, who's really confused about the true meaning of Christmas. And through that big spiel, she realizes that even though the Grinch shouldn't be alone, and even though Christmas was stolen, it's not necessarily what you need for Christmas. It's almost like him and his words were part of that narrative. His monologue was part of that moral narrative. Affected the Whovians or who's billions. What do you call that?
Billions.
The the Hujimawatsit. We'll call them the Hujimawatsit. It affects the Hujimawatsit. And then that they find the true spirit of Christmas. And then of course you have the simplified version after that, where suddenly that sparks.
Enunciate your words, sir.
I've been drinking too many bingle bongles dingleberries. I've been hitting the dingleberry sauce hard tonight.
The dingleberries. Ah! That's funny. Ugh.
It's an acquired taste.
Definitely.
It's strong.
Definitely an aftertaste.
Real strong. Real strong. But that affects the Grinch, and of course he has his growth period, and they save Christmas at the end, right?
Well, everybody, in the 2000 version grows, I think.
Yeah.
It's not just the Grinch. I mean, they do have to refocus it on the Grinch, but everybody, including the Whovillians, civilian Who's, even they grow a little bit more.
I thought we settled on Hujimawatsit.
Hujimawatsit. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I should have written it down. I mean, Hujimawatsit.
We're just renaming an entire class of people. I don't know about you, but I feel white guilt.
At least there won't be any copyright infringement, okay? So you'll be fine.
For now.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate my Mariah Carey singing was. I could get copyright struck just for singing a few bars.
It's funny if she calls you up and says, "Please stop doing that."
No, they just strike the video from YouTube. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Look at that. You don't get a formal cease and desist letter?
Okay. No, they just pull it. You're guilty until proven innocent with YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah. I'll explain all of that off camera too. It's a whole thing. So I guess in summary, for me at least, I feel that monologues aren't just the lines. It's kind of the moral architecture. At least it was for these two particular films that we decided to look at. Both versions kind of teach the lesson, but in different approaches. And, the Ron Howard version, the 2000 version, kind of had a little bit about the consumerism part of it. But at least that's what I gathered from it.
What we talked about when we were doing our research about this, and we didn't talk about here, was in both movies, what was brought up was the fact that it takes everything, right? In both movies. But they made a point of talking about the last can of Who hash.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that? Why? They made it a point in both movies to bring up that specific line, the hash. Like, what is it about the hash? It takes everything, including the last can of hash. Remember? No, you don't remember?
I've never seen these movies, Marco. I gotta level with you. I've never actually seen it. That's not even a real book.
Together, man. What are you talking about? It's in the bloody book.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help it. Yeah, so the can of Who hash, huh? I'm assuming it's like just regular hash, like potato, chopped up potatoes. What are you getting at?
Because do you have a can of hash in your pantry right now?
Sometimes, not currently.
Sometimes.
Actually, I might. I might actually have a
can.
I might actually have a can of hash as well.
See?
It's a simple and easy staple. And if any Grinch comes over to my house, he's gonna have to pry it from my cold dead hands.
Yeah, he's gonna have to.
Is that what you wanted from me? You wanted my political stance? You wanted my political stance. You want this can of hash? You come and take it, Mr. Grinch. Is that what you wanted?
From a cold dead fingers.
God almighty. I think that just about wraps up this episode. I don't know where we're going. Next week we have we could tease it, but no, then you might not come back. It's a little graphic. That's all I'm gonna say. It was an interesting watch. Just two grown men watching that one.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah. We want to thank you if you're still with us. Once again, I'd like to do a little call to action. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends.
Please do.
Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. We like to have a lot of fun and keep it as relaxed as possible. But if you have any suggestions on where we should go to next with the show, please let us know. You know, I would love to do a whole Alamo theme, for example. I think we were talking about doing the various versions of the Alamo.
Texas history, yeah.
But if you don't want to see any of that shit, let us know, and we'll just go with whatever crazy ideas you guys have. With that being said, Marco, do you have anything to say before we cut it off?
No, just wanted to say thank you for dropping by. I know it's been a while since we, had an episode. It's not that we weren't trying to make episodes. We've been actively discussing how to get back into the swing of things. But, you finished school. Me, I'm currently on Christmas break. So, we're taking advantage. So please let us know how we could be better. We've taken all of the feedback that we have had before and then applied it to this stuff. Applied it to the show now.
Poorly. We applied it poorly, but we're working on it.
But slowly work in progress. Slow work in progress.
Change is hard.
No, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe, give us a shout out, share us with your friends. More importantly, guys, happy holidays. If you find yourselves feeling alone, reach out to somebody. Doesn't matter who it is. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a stranger, reach out to family, reach out to us. Marco's not doing anything. He's hiding from his brother and sister who currently live with him now.
No breaking and entering.
Don't show up unannounced. And if you come after his who hash, best come strapped.
Yeah, you might run into some hoop bullets.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, that being said, we're gonna go ahead and cut it off there. See you guys next time on Monologue Dialogue. Bye-bye. And now as we end this peculiar little chat, with thoughts of green Grinches and the morals they spat, we ask you one thing as you head on your way. What makes Christmas Christmas when the tinsel's away? Is it sung by a crowd with no presence in sight, or learned when excess gets pushed out of the light? Whichever you choose, let the message grow log by log. We'll meet you next time on Monologue Dialogue.